What is going on, guys? Nate Dubtap here. Um, I know it's been a while since I have recorded my last commentary, so here it goes. This is my Battlefield 4 beta. As you guys know, pretty much huge Battlefield player. I've been playing since Battlefield 1942. Um, and yeah, probably one of my favorite games. So, let's get into the beta, which I have um, on Xbox, and I'll explain that in a minute. I want to talk about the challenge I had to go through to actually get into this closed beta. Um, because it was a closed beta, I guess they didn't want just random people getting into it, so they had to make it nearly impossible to get into, and all morning I couldn't get into it, and it was live and everything. So I went on the forums and I randomly found a guy who said he just changed his time zone and then went to the Battlefield 4 tiles in the featured section, and then he logged back into Xbox Live and it showed up as an option there. So I went ahead and I followed his instructions, and turned out to work, so that was a positive. And I was able to get into the beta and play it, and here are pretty much what I think of it. Now, as I mentioned earlier, I said I was playing on Xbox. Now, I'm trying to switch over to PC gaming as a whole because that's what I like more. So, yeah, I'm slowly moving over to PC. However, I was not able to get the beta for PC because I it it's not cross-platform um, when you look it up. So I couldn't, even though I have Medal of Honor Warfighter and I have Battlefield 3 Premium and all of that. I could still, it was on Xbox rather than on the PC, so I couldn't get it unless I had pre-ordered the game or bought something else on PC. So I figured I would just wait till the 4th to get it on PC, and then play it on PC when it comes out, or when I have the chance. So yeah, since it's been a while, I figured I might as well do an update on basically my my life, I guess. So I don't know if I mentioned that I was joining the army. I probably have in some other commentary. Um, but yeah, I'm joining the army, and I've been an applicant for 15 months now, so it's taken its time, and yeah, that needs to hurry up. Um, Now that I've graduated high school, um, I basically am just waiting for the army to take me, and once that happens, I can finally go. Um, in the meantime, I'll probably get a job, I guess. I don't know. And yeah, so that's what's going on with my life. Now back to Battlefield. I I want to say that Battlefield 4 is it's not the it's not the best, and the reason I'm saying that is because it feels like it's Battlefield 3 mixed with Call of Duty. Like it's Battlefield 3 with Call of Duty aspects to it. Now, what I mean by that is it seems that you die faster. The the way the gameplay is, it's a little more rushed. It's not as vehicle intensive. The combat is more close quarters, and you get a definitely a COD feel to it, which it's not the best, but I'll explain more later on. Now, the glitches that I've been running into, uh, very annoying. Now, these glitches include the reloading. I don't know if anybody else has run into this, but when I say that, I mean if I shoot like 2 or 3 shots out of my gun and then I go to reload, it'll register as an entire clip that I used, and so my remaining ammo capacity will drop down by, if it's a 30 round magazine, it'll drop down by 30. If it's a 20 round magazine, it'll drop down by 20 rather than just the 3 or 4 shots that I fired, making my gameplay style change a lot. You'll notice throughout the gameplay, whenever I'm shooting, I'll tend to not reload even though I only have like 5 or 6 shots left, because one, I know I can kill somebody with those 5 or 6 shots as long as I'm accurate, and two, if I reload I just lose ammo, and it seems as though nobody gives you ammo in this game, and you run out pretty quickly. So um, until I get some squad mates on PC with me, I really that's how I'll have to play, because I won't have ammo basically. Um, Another glitch is um, if you try and turn whenever you pick somebody's kit up, there's about a 5-second delay. That when you initially hold Y to pick up the kit, you'll pick it up, and then as you're switching to it, you won't be able to look left or right. And that sounds not that bad, but it makes kit swapping almost impossible. And if you're an experienced Battlefield player, that's you pretty much depend on kit swapping as like it's a normal thing you do. So not being able to kit swap is extremely annoying. And rendering is one of the last glitches, but I'm sure it's just because the graphics on just the normal Xbox cannot handle it. So the rendering issues are pretty awful, especially when you're flying through the skyscraper after it's fallen. It just like sometimes it'll just reappear and then disappear again, and it's rendering issues, dealing with Xbox 360 not having enough processing capability to deal with that. Um, Now I kind of want to move into vehicles. Um, I'll start out with the scout chopper. Some things that they changed with it is it's definitely, you can feel it. It's more agile. It's easier to control. A lot of people that aren't used to flying um, probably can get used to it a lot easier now. Um, it's just much easier to control, and now that there's no disable feature, uh, it's more powerful in the sky, harder to take down, but I think they kind of balance it out, because the guns on the scout chopper are not as powerful. Like they're actually extremely weak, but they're extremely accurate as well. And why that's less um, less powerful than previous Battlefield 3 is, in Battlefield 3 the guns on the scout chopper were extremely powerful, but they were also somewhat inaccurate, making their spread larger, so it really didn't matter, because as long as you were shooting in the area of something, you could kill it rather quickly, because it was just, the bullets would go everywhere, but they were really powerful, so only one or two had to hit. Um, they they definitely changed around the controls of it also. I don't know why exactly they did this, but I had I hopped in one and I almost immediately crashed, and I had to switch back to the veteran controls, because it gave me that option, and I was like, well, why wouldn't I want this? So I swapped back to the veteran controls, and it's a lot easier, I guess, but it's still not what I would like it to be. Especially not the flares. The flares on the bottom of the D-pad is kind of silly. I don't like that a lot. It's not in the right placement. Whenever I'm in a tough situation and I got multiple people shooting at me and I need to deploy flares or something, it's hard to figure out where, or like quickly remember that I need to go to the D-pad to deploy flares. But I guess it's just the thing that you learn over time. Um, they made the passenger seats a lot better now. Also, the passengers can look almost forward, like completely forward and backwards, so you can essentially see what the pilot sees. And yeah, so the it'll provide a little bit more support. I was noticing when I was flying sometimes I had passengers shooting grenade launchers and RPGs directly in front of me, taking out people that I was shooting at. So yeah, that'll help passengers get more points and be more useful, I guess. Um, so that was pretty much all that I noticed with the scout choppers. Now with the tanks, there was a couple things that I noticed. They definitely are more agile. Um, I don't know if that's, I don't know why that is, but it's just they seem less armored and more agile. I don't know if that's what they were going for or not, but that's what it seems like. It also seems as though you can't really tell the damage you've taken very well because there's no disable feature. Like when in Battlefield 3, whenever you got disabled, it was a clear distinction. Oh, I can only take one or two more hits depending upon, you know, what my health is at, and you would you would notice your health because you were disabled, so you would look down and keep that in mind. On this, there's no disabling. It just kind of makes a beepy sound sometimes, and yeah, it's really hard to tell. And then you eventually look down at your health, and it's at like 30 or something. Then you realize you have to jump out. So I I don't necessarily like the new tanks at all. I don't think that they're classic Battlefield style, and yeah, I don't know if they're going to be fixed or just anything, but it seems like tanks have just changed, and it's just a change that I don't like. Now, I can also tell you that they're definitely more powerful in groups, but by themselves, they're not that good. And what I mean by this is, well, pretty obvious what I mean, but what I've noticed is that in games, whenever there's one guy in a tank by himself, he'll maybe take out two or three people before he gets taken down by the enemy team. But then when a team gets three tanks, just steals all the tanks and basically has all the tanks on the map to their own team, that team becomes unstoppable, and they end up getting all the objectives, and they end up just spawn killing the enemy team. So in groups, these tanks are extremely deadly, extremely hard to take out, and I think that was a good move. I don't know if that was intended, but it definitely shows vehicle dominance, and that you want to get it. So yeah, that's something that you want. Also, these tanks seem extremely weak versus infantry. I was hitting people pretty much at the feet with my main main cannon, and it wasn't necessarily killing them. However, um, machine gunners on top seem to be able to wipe up the kills pretty easily. So overall, I would say the driver's seat is not meant to take out infantry unless you're using the light machine gun, and even then, it still takes quite some time. Um, but yeah, that's overall pretty much changes that they made to the tanks. Now the jeeps, it seems that nobody gets in them. Whenever I have a spawn option, it seems that I can always spawn on a jeep no matter what. So I don't think they're being used as much as they're intended to be used, and it's kind of a shame because they're actually pretty good. They're speedy, they're maneuverable, um, their machine guns are pretty good. The only downside to them is it's just like the tank. It's extremely hard to tell what damage they've taken, and before you know it, you'll just die in it. And yeah, so that's pretty much the Jeeps. Another thing about them is the boost feature. It used to be that um, the boost feature, essentially, it just makes your Jeep go faster, obviously, but it was hard to tell because it wasn't that much of a difference. But some of the ways they put in would be um, the sound engine would make a higher engine sound, or you go into a higher gear or have more RPM or whatever, and so that way you would know exactly what what speed you were going at. So in this game, what they did was they made it so you have black exhaust smoke rather than the just normal gray exhaust smoke, which is good because in Battlefield 3, the um, the the sound engine, was pretty awful for um, telling telling you exactly when you had boost engage and whatnot. Um, so that's a change that I like. Not again, not that much of a noticeable change, but still something that to be done, and nice change for once. And now I kind of want to move into the classes, starting with the assault class, which I think is the best class. Um, it's really good. The weapons in it drop pretty much the fastest, and so that's what I've used the most. Now there's pretty much two or three options for it. Now that you can either have the grenade launcher or the defibrillators or the medical kit or the shotgun, it's nice having more options, but I prefer to stick with the grenade launcher rather than the defibrillators or the shotgun, and that's pretty much pretty. The reason behind it is because the defibrillators in this game are pretty awful right now. Whenever somebody needs a revive, either it won't come up with the revive symbol, or whenever you try to revive them, it just won't work, and it's pretty glitchy. So I like to use the noob tube rather than the defibrillators, and the shotgun is just, I never was a big fan of it, so I pretty much don't use it. So that's my setup for the assault class, and I always use the med kits. And speaking of the medical kits, I don't know if you'll notice from the gameplay or not, but you'll see medical kits actually follow you around. So now I kind of want to shift into the gameplay. As you'll notice, I spawned in, and I can tell that we're pretty much winning, and we're about to win the game. So to finish it off, I go ahead and put the barriers up to prevent that tank right there. I knew there was enemy armor around, so I put the barriers up to prevent armor from going to our base, and luckily I barely get away from it, and I throw a medical kit down as I'm running away from it, which I should have been able to pick up since I was weak on health, but it didn't really pick it up, so I was lucky I survived, and I had to toss another one down. And then I get to the top, I capture it, and I throw a grenade outside of the elevator door, and it was perfect timing, and I was able to get the guy right as he came out, so I didn't have to go in a gunfight against him, because it's sometimes unreliable. And then the second guy I just noob tube, which is definitely a perk to the assault class. The grenade launcher is definitely powerful, and if you use it right, like there, then you can pretty much use it to its full advantage. And then I turn the corner, and there's two guys over there, so I immediately go for the cover behind the stairs and everything. And right here, I'm thinking to myself, all right, well, I'm on a good streak. I'm playing rather smart. I'm using my equipment to my advantage, using the environment to my advantage, and I decide, well, I'll go pick up the sniper rifle, see what I can do with it. And of course, I go to pick it up, and I jump out the window. Now, I didn't do this on purpose. I was turning to the right as I picked it up, but as I mentioned earlier, there's a glitch when you pick up weapons or classes. You can't look left or right. So when I aimed to my right, I wasn't actually able to look right, and I end up walking right out the window like an idiot. And that pretty much ends my streak of me thinking I'm going to be a genius, and the game goes ahead and finishes. And now this is just gameplay of a nice kill streak that I got in the Little Bird. Um, So anyways, that was pretty much a nice little streak that I had going. I thought I thought I was playing rather smart for that instance. Anyways, now back to the different kits. The engineer kit, I, I've used it, but I don't like it too much. The reason I don't like it is because the guns, the primary guns, are PDWs, and I'm never really a big fan of them. So I don't like the guns, the primary gun, but I like the class itself. The RPGs, I like what they did to them. Seems like they fly faster, little straighter, definitely more control. So yeah, it's just a decent class overall. Support class, I have not played, so I don't know anything about it. The recon class is it's pretty fun. I enjoy it. It's got some of the best equipment. The targeting thing that goes to the infrared, I use that just to spot people because the infrared is just so good that it's probably one of the best equipment. So I'll use that to range people and just to spot people. And then the zeroing feature, I don't know if anybody uses it, but I use it and I enjoy it. Is with your laser designator, you can actually tell the range of people, and then you can put that into your scope and range people, and it, it just makes it so that wherever you aim, your bullet will actually go no matter what distance. So that that's definitely a plus. It's also kind of a cheat thing to do, which I've noticed with it is if you have the range set at 200 meters and you're only shooting at distances of about 150 to 175 meters, um, what'll happen is if you aim at their stomach or their chest, it'll pretty much be an instant headshot because the bullet goes higher than what you're actually aiming at because you've zeroed in for a range that's longer. So that's a fun little thing to do. But overall, I think the recon class is definitely a challenging but rewarding, balanced class that I enjoy. And those are pretty much it for the classes. Now for the game itself, it has a lot of interactive features, which is good, but also not good. Um, it's fun to use them, and it's good to use them, play smart with them. But some of them are just stupid, like closing the door of a container. That was I noticed that, and that was kind of useless in my opinion. Um, the uh, the parachute is much better. Um, I don't know what about it that I like. I guess that it's just easier to deploy and just more fun to use in general. Um, Five-man squad is nice, but the field upgrades kind of suck, and I just don't like them. They don't work at all. Um, Selecting a vehicle on Xbox, I don't know if you guys have done this or not, but you have to use right stick and you have to press in on right stick and then do some weird stuff, and it's awful. Right bumper has too many features, and is a terrible idea to put battle log as select because I spam select because that's what spot used to be. Now it's not. Um, Skyscraper is just too easy to take down. Um, it comes down sometimes within the first 2 minutes of the game, and yeah, I'm not sure about power weapons, but yeah, that's pretty much my entire thing. Hope you guys enjoyed. Remember to rate, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys later.